Hi everyone, it's Bethany, and in this tutorial we are going to be creating some pantry labels with the Cricut Joy. So I've had these glass canisters for probably 5 years now, and they are amazing. I love them. They house our white rice and our brown rice, and they look so pretty on the counter. This is their little top, and they just are so pretty. I got them at IKEA, and I went back recently to try to find a smaller version of it because I know that when I was buying them back years ago, my mom got a smaller set, and so I wanted to get a smaller one, but I couldn't find them, so I'm not sure if they make them anymore. But you can still find big glass canisters somewhere else, but these are so nice. So I'm going to be creating some little labels that go on the fronts of these, and the reason I chose these labels are because I have been seeing them everywhere in Cricut Design Space. I think they're kind of politely stalking me and telling me, please make me, because I keep seeing them pop up, and so I finally thought I am going to put those on those canisters. And so what we're going to use are, we're going to use some of the white smart vinyl. So we're not going to need a mat. We're just going to feed this right through the machine. And I think that's going to look really nice on the canisters. It's going to really pop. So I think that's going to be a really good choice. Plus, that's kind of the style that is in my kitchen and is kind of in my house. So I think it'll look pretty. We're going to use this measuring tape because I need to measure my space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set one of these aside, and then we will measure the other one in just a moment. Other materials you're going to need are a weeding tool and a pair of scissors, and then I'm going to be using the Cricut Joy transfer tape, and I really like this stuff. We'll link it down below, and everything that I used today I'll link down below. I believe this is just the regular strength, so it's not the strong grip, and it works so well. So I'm going to be using that, and then of course a scraper or a squeegee tool. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put those labels right on here. We're going to apply a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to make sure that they're nice and clean, and then I think we're going to stick around 4.5 inches. So I think that'll be nice. 4.5 inches in width will be really, I think, a good size label for this canister. Okay, so what we're going to do is hop into Cricut Design Space. I'm going to show you the design. These are pre-made designs, so they're even better, which means you can just quickly go in, click them, and make them and size them. Well, size them before you make them, but they're going to be so easy to do. All right, let's go ahead and pop in to Cricut Design Space, and we will get these sized and cut. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. These are the labels that I will be creating today, and they come in a collection or a set. So I will show you, if I go to Image Info and say View Cartridge, then you will see that they're in a 25 image set. So there are so many different kinds that you can cut out. So they have flour and coffee, quinoa, cornstarch, the list goes on and on. So they have a really nice selection. This could really take you down a rabbit hole of organization if you let it. So it's really nice. They're all pre-done for you. I'm starting with the brown and white rice, and then truth be told, I'll probably go down a rabbit hole and want to make a bunch more, but let's just start small. So what we're going to do is now we're going to size our design. So I'm just going to go up here to the width, and I am going to say 4.5, and that places the height at about 2.7. So that's going to be just right. So I'll do the same thing with the second one, 4.5. Okay, so now we have our Joy selected up here, so we are all set to go. We are going to be making these out of the white vinyl, so we can go ahead and make this white. This is not mandatory at all to color them, but for visual purposes, I'll go ahead and do that, and then we can select Make It. So that's so fast. We're going to go ahead and do without a mat because we have some smart materials that we're going to be using today, so we'll click that. If you have other materials that are not smart materials, or if you have smart materials that are too small to fit through the Joy, then you can click the On the Mat button. I'll go ahead and place a tutorial up here on how you can place smaller cuts of the smart vinyl into the Joy still. Okay, so we're going to click Done, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to drag this just a hair down. Is it going to let me? Maybe it won't let me. Well, that's fine anyway. I wonder why that's not going to let me drag that down a little bit. Okay, so we are doing it without a mat, which is just fine, and looks like we are all set to go. So we will just click Continue, and now it's just going to locate our little Joy. Okay, for our materials, we are going to select Smart Vinyl Permanent, and then it says we're going to use our fine point blade, and we can load our materials accordingly. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll get to cutting. Okay, so I have my Smart materials here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lightly place them against the wheels, and the Cricut Joy will automatically grab it and then pull it in and out, and what it's doing is making sure we have enough material to complete the cut. So what we're going to do is then we'll click go, and it will start cutting out our materials. While that is cutting, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to clean the surface where I'm going to place my label. So I went down a rabbit hole of cleaning my kitchen recently. I think everybody's kind of doing that since we're all safe at home. You're finding little things to keep on track of. And so what I was doing was putting a bunch of stuff through the dishwasher and just keeping things nice and clean. So this is super clean, but in the process of bringing it down to my craft table, there's some fingerprint smudges that got on it. So this just helps to make sure it stays really, really clean before application of that vinyl, because your hands can have oils on them and just gets it even cleaner, even though I did run these through the dishwasher. It is so liberating to run things through the dishwasher and just get everything into a fresh state. Please, say I'm not the only one who gets down a little cleaning rabbit hole, and oh my goodness, it's so awesome. Okay, so that's just finishing up, and what I did is I grabbed my paper trimmer, and I'm going to unload this. I like to cut my remaining vinyl off with my paper trimmer just because it leaves a nice clean cut. That way when I go to use this Smart material again, it feeds really beautifully into the machine. So I'm going to make sure I don't cut off my design, and I'll just go ahead and slice that. So my design is right in here, and it's hard because the white back is the same color as the vinyl, so I'm going to weed this really quickly, but you won't see much of it until I get it onto the transfer tape, but it's looking really, really neat, and it's going to really pop on that glass. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little weeding tool, and you can use whatever weeding tool you like. I am in love with the Cricut one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my squeegee tool as well, and I'm just going to really press down onto the vinyl, and I'm just going to make sure all those little pieces are where they need to be. It just helps the weeding process. Okay, and then weeding is essentially just removing any area that you do not want in your design. So I'm just going to start weeding, and I will go ahead and just do this real quick and come right back, because since you can't really see it until we get on the transfer tape, then I'll just do it real quick for you guys. Okay, so I'm just finishing up grabbing my last couple little pieces, and I feel like I have done a lot of HTV lately, so going back to weeding vinyl is so different. What do you guys think? Do you guys like to weed vinyl or HTV more? I personally love to do HTV. It's so forgiving and easy, and vinyl just really, really reminds me to be patient. So, okay, so it's all weeded out, looks great, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm just going to cut between the designs. Make sure they're separated. I can't wait to see these on the canisters. It's just going to be so pretty. And it's kind of as if I got new canisters for my kitchen, but really I just put a little bit of vinyl on them. So that's kind of nice. I'll get a little fresh look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my transfer tape, and I'm just going to peel it away from its backing, and I just kind of poke a hole in the top and just grab it from there. It just helps. And I really like this transfer tape because it has grid lines on it. So it's just really helpful when getting it down on the design. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this right over. And then you guys can see in just a second this beautiful design on this white vinyl. It looks really, really nice. So you'll just want to be patient when you're weeding it out. It takes a little time, but it's well worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape down on the top, just making sure that the transfer tape and the vinyl meet together so that they'll peel really nicely off of this carrier sheet or cutting mat. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over and do the back as well. Okay, and then at a right angle, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a corner and I'm just going to start peeling away the cutting mat. And you may need to use your weeding tool just to kind of help nudge some of the pieces along. And that's just fine. I use my weeding tool until my project is almost done. I use it a lot. And not just for weeding, so. Okay, so I'm all done weeding that, and it turned out really nice. It required a little bit of patience though, because the pieces are a little bit small, but it's well worth it because these are gonna look really neat. So I'm gonna grab my first little canister here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, let's see, I'm gonna well, actually, that's where I wanted it anyway. Oh my gosh, that made me so nervous. It just kind of clinged there really fast. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to use my fingers. Did you guys see that? It just took over. But you know what? That's exactly where I was going to put it anyway, which is funny because I think it just saved me a bunch of time of indecisiveness. It was just saying, Bethany, this is where it's going to go, so just go for it. Okay, so I'm just going to use my scraping tool now and then scrape and press down. Lucky accident. So know that vinyl is very clingy, and so is the transfer tape. So that is going to, as soon as it gets close to your material, it just really wants to cling. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to grab a corner and just peel away. And then it'll leave my design right on my canister there. So now I would reuse this transfer tape, and usually I do, but I'm going to grab a fresh sheet just because these pieces are so small and they were being a little stinker with my first sheet. So I want to make sure that I just get a nice grip again. If you notice any bubbles, you can just go ahead and use your fingernail or your scraper tool just to push those towards the edge, and they will come right out. And then you're all set. Okay, so let me see if I can maybe place my hand or my mouse behind there so you guys can really see how neat that looks. Okay, so that's how it looks on the canister. It's gonna really neat, look really cool once the rice is in there too. Okay, so I'm gonna start weeding the next one and get that one all set to go. Okay, so the second one is all ready and it looks good. And now I'm just gonna grab my second little canister, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring my other one in. Let me move this because I want to make sure, because these do sit side by side on my counter, I want to make sure that I get them even, because that will drive me crazy if I don't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure, and I'm going to hold this a little tighter than I did last time. That way it doesn't cling too quickly. That looks about right. And I'm going to lay it down. Easy peasy. Okay, so again with my finger, I'm just going to go ahead and push down, and then I'll take my scraper and go even further and firmer. I think these will look really neat. I'm happy with how they turned out. And I'm happy I finally did this design, because am I the only one who does that? Does anyone else go into Design Space and you tend to see some designs over and over and you think, oh my goodness, that must be a sign that I really need to do that craft. So I'm glad that I am finally doing it, because I have been dreaming about these little signs. Okay, so now I can just grab the little corner and peel at an angle, and it leaves my design right on the glass. How cute is that? I love the look, and I love they were already pre-made, so it's so easy. You just go in and size it, cut it, and in minutes you will have your jars all done. So I guess the only tricky part about this is making sure you are patient with the weeding. Other than that, they turned out really awesome. I can't wait to put the rice in so that they contrast even more. So I'll just get these little lids put on and they will be good to go. All right, everyone, if you found this helpful, be sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you guys are doing any type of organization, make sure you guys let me know in the comment section if you guys are doing any labeling. I feel like this time right now, as we're all safe at home, I'm doing a lot of cleaning in between homeschooling the little toddlers, and I'm doing a lot of cleaning and a lot of rearranging. So it's kind of refreshing just to get a little fresh look on these canisters that I've had for so long. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you all in the next video.